What if I told you there's a country where gas is cheaper than bottled water, where the government pays you to get married, and where 12-year-olds drive Ferraris to school? Oh, and one more thing. 70 years ago, this place was so poor, they used seashells as money. This is Qatar, a sliver of desert that's richer than the USA, China, and almost everyone else. But this isn't a fairy tale. It's a masterclass in oil-fueled ambition. Let's break down how they hacked global wealth. From seashells to oil sheiks. Before Qatar had skyscrapers and supercars, it had pearls. That's right, tiny pearls plucked from the ocean by hand. It was backbreaking work, but it was all they had. And then disaster. Japan starts mass-producing fake pearls, the global market tanks. Qatar's only export vanishes almost overnight, but the British had sniffed something else under the sand. Oil. Unfortunately, World War II hit pause on the drilling, and for another 10 years, Qatar stayed stuck in the past. Then in 1949, it all changed. The first shipment of oil left Qatari shores, and a flood of black gold rewrote the country's fate. Roads were paved, palaces rose from the sand, and a quiet desert started humming with ambition. The gas jackpot. But oil was just the appetizer. The real main course? Natural gas. Beneath the seabed off Qatar's coast lies the North Field, the largest natural gas deposit on Earth. While neighboring Saudi Arabia built its empire on oil, Qatar played a long game. They pioneered liquefied natural gas, LNG. That means freezing gas to minus 162 degrees Celsius and shipping it worldwide like it's Amazon Prime. This one innovation turned Qatar from a Gulf afterthought to an energy superpower. Their tankers now light up cities from Tokyo to London. Suddenly, the world was hooked on Qatari gas, and Qatar was hooked on winning. The Shadow Empire. And what do you do when you have billions rolling in every week? You go shopping, but not for fun, for strategy. Qatar's purchases weren't about luxury, they were about leverage. Every acquisition was a calculated move in a bigger game. They bought football clubs, not just to win matches, but to win over fans and global attention. PSG became more than a team. It became a billboard for Qatari soft power. They bought skyscrapers, not to invest in real estate, but to place themselves above the skyline, literally owning pieces of cities like London. They bought media networks, not just for profit, but to shape the global narrative. Al Jazeera became a powerful tool, blending journalism and diplomacy to tell the story their way. When Europe faced its debt crisis, Qatar showed up with open wallets, not as saviors, but as shareholders, securing major stakes in banks, car companies, and landmark businesses. It looked generous, but it was strategic. This was how Qatar turned wealth into influence, into silent power. No armies, no threats, just ownership. They quietly became landlords of global influence, buying cultural capital, political access, and even silence. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar sealed it. A desert nation with no football legacy winning the right to host the world's biggest sporting event. Critics questioned everything from climate feasibility to human rights. But Qatar's money reshaped the conversation. They didn't just participate in the game, they became the game. And in this new world, power doesn't need borders. It needs branding, banking, and bandwidth. While others watched, Qatar built an empire, quietly, effectively, completely. And when you own the football, the finance, and the frame, you don't just influence the game, you become the game. Citizens versus slaves. Now here's where it gets deeply uncomfortable. In Qatar, your life path, your entire destiny, depends on one thing: your passport. If you're a citizen, you're treated like royalty. But if you're one of the 2 million migrant workers, mostly from India, Nepal, Bangladesh, you're invisible, disposable, hidden camera footage, workers crammed into rooms, one tiny fan spinning, manager yelling, "No water break!" You stop, you go home, no pay. They build the malls, the towers, the stadiums, but many aren't even allowed inside them. Their reality? Abuse, heat, silence. They sleep 12 to a room, work 6 days a week, and some never make it back home. The World Cup's dirty secret. Qatar promised the world an unforgettable spectacle, the most luxurious, technologically advanced, and visually stunning World Cup in history. And for the millions watching on screen, it delivered. Stadiums shimmered like monuments to modernity. VIP lounges overflowed with luxury, drone shows lit up the desert sky. But behind the polished scenes lay a truth far darker, one built not on innovation alone, but on human suffering. According to human rights organizations, over 6,500 migrant workers from countries like Nepal, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan died in the years leading up to the tournament. These were men lured by the hope of better futures, of sending money home to their families. Instead, many returned in coffins, victims of heat stroke under the blazing Gulf sun, cardiac arrest from overwork, and fatal accidents on unsafe construction sites. Most deaths were listed vaguely as natural causes, and investigations were rare. Footage from rural Nepal and Bangladesh paints a devastating picture. Grieving families gather around simple wooden caskets. A father clutches a photo of his son and stares into the camera, his voice hollow. "My son went for work. He came back in a box." These are not isolated tragedies. They form a pattern of systemic neglect. Meanwhile, FIFA celebrated record-breaking revenues, luxury brands cashed in, and fans from around the globe cheered in billion-dollar arenas. The workers who made it all possible were left unrecognized, their stories buried beneath the roar of the crowds and the fireworks of opening night. For many, it was the greatest show on earth. For others, it was a show built on silence, suffering, and sacrifice. And while FIFA celebrated record profits, the workers' deaths were buried in silence, forgotten by the same world that cheered in the stands. Now, Qatar claims it's going green. Solar panels, eco-summits, net zero pledges. But here's the truth. Gas is still king. Profits are record high. Emissions skyrocketing. And while the planet overheats, Qatar's elite still party under diamond chandeliers. Pearls didn't last. Oil won't either. Gas? Just a chapter. Riches built on sand don't last forever. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and hit that subscribe button, because the best is yet to come.